Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the ORT Esports Cup here for round number 5 of the championship as we take in the circuit of the Americas. We're here in Austin, Texas, which can only mean one thing and one thing only. Yes, we are here for the American Grand Prix. My name is, of course, Ivan Brim. I'm going to be taking you through the action as always on a Friday evening, and of course looking at how things have set themselves up since last week. Of course, the standings have been updated, and we have CPI leading the way on 133 points. 1 point behind CPI is the QVR team. Of course, QVR represented tonight by Campbell and Gary, so they're going to be hoping for fantastic results. And obviously CPI represented by Mango and KGAT, so it's going to be a very interesting one between those two teams, that is for sure. 1 point separating them. And all our development currently in third on 117 points, and they are 4 points ahead of ORT Esports, who are currently in fourth on 113 points. 100 points for LRN, currently in fifth. And then, of course, we got EPEC in 6th on 57 points. So we're talking a big gap back now from 5th down to 6th of 43 points there between LRN and EPEC. DKMN Esports currently on 54 points. And, of course, we got IRT Esports on 48 points. ORT on 39 and VMV on 29 in last place. 15 drivers here at the moment. Currently on board with Finley, who's going to be taking us on a hot lap here around the circuit of America. So, riding on board with Finley as we climb up the hill towards turn number 1 around this 5.5 kilometer circuit in length, 3.4 miles in distance. Coming through turn 2 now, of course, on the soft tyres, also known as the C4 compound, and of course we have the C3 mediums and the C2 hard compound tyres here tonight, and of course intermediates and wet tyres available for the drivers as well. And looking at the clouds up above, it could be potential. As Finley comes through turn number 11, which of course will lead on to the back straight with DRS wide open once again, and a key overtaking opportunity down in towards turn number 12, where I assume we'll be seeing plenty of overtakes happening through there. Now into the final sector, of course, coming up to the infamous Gusta Wind corner, where of course we saw Nico Rosberg absolutely fumble it against Lewis Hamilton in, I believe it was the 2015 Formula 1 World Championship, if I remember off the top of my head. But coming for the penultimate corner now, into the final corner with Finley. Let's see what Finley will do as he crosses the line. It's going to be a 1:32.5. Immediately beaten by Spec Lab, a 32.1 for LRN. So Spec Lab doing a fantastic job. Hopefully everyone is having a fantastic evening here on this fantastic Friday evening. And of course, it is a good day for racing. Starting to get some times coming through. Currently on board with QVR, Gary for the QVR team. Cross the line up in the P3. In the Alpine, his teammate Campbell now coming through the final corner as well. What can Campbell do as he crosses the line? And he just about goes ahead of his teammate, but both LRN drivers outperforming the QVR drivers as it currently stands. Mango's out on track, and so is KGAT. So we're going to stay on board with KGAT. Of course, has a big opportunity to really extend that lead in the championship once again between CPI and QVR, because it has closed down, only 1 point separating the two teams. But through the final corner comes KGAT now for CPI as he comes to the line And it's going to be a 1:31.5, half a second ahead of the rest of the pack, as Mango crosses the line in behind, and he goes P2 with a 31.9. So CPI laying down the gauntlet early on in qualifying. Wildstorm bailing out of his lap coming into the pits. We've got Moustache out there on a lap for NLR, and he's going to bail out into the pits as well. So Gonza on an invalid run, and I believe that will be everyone coming in now for a fresh set of boots, let's see. The cloud looking pretty murky up above. Of course, very overcast here today in qualifying. But as it currently stands, there's a CPI front row lockout with KGAT and Mango first and second apiece. You only need two drivers in the 131s. Will they remain that way, or will we'll see other drivers join them in the 31s? I'll tell you who could be joining them. That is, of course, this man, Rudy, currently on a 32 flat in that Ferrari. Of course, Ferrari representing ORT here tonight. So that's a good qualifying from Rudy. Of course, Ferry Cambo in P9. I apologize if I've absolutely butchered that name. I do try to pronounce things correctly, but I normally just end up saying it as I read it. I'm a very simple person, guys. Simple person. That is me. But yeah, Rudy currently up in P3, and of course we got the LRN pairing of Dominique and Speclap. Campbell and Gary for QVR down in 6th and 7th, with their nearest rivals in the championship, of course, being CPI, 1 point separating them. They are 1-2, so need a big improvement from both Campbell and Gary here. Gary coming out onto a outlap right now. We got Finley, who's furthest along on the outlap, as it was in the first round of laps. Looks like Finley will be the first man to get the second round of qualifying laps underway. Just over 10 minutes to go in the session. It is currently KGAT for CPI leading the way. Of course, we are here tonight at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. And obviously with the inclusion, I want to get you guys' opinions on this. Obviously, in recent years, we've seen, obviously, for some fantastic races at COTA in real life and in the league racing community. With the expansion in terms of the American races of Miami and now Vegas, do we think it's going to end up being a case where there may be more of a North American Grand Prix as well as an American Grand Prix? So that's why I think it might be going, because we did have a European Grand Prix way back in the day. As Finley now on his lap, coming through turn 1 into turn 2, and of course now into the S's. Very, very difficult part of the track to make sure that you keep it valid, keep the minimum speed up, and of course just have a nice rhythm through this sequence of corners. Very easy to run wide there through turn 9 on the exit, and of course now into turn number 11 at the hairpin. Traction out of this corner, crucial as you run down towards turn number 12. Bit of a long range tow by here from Finley off of his teammate, and that is perfectly done between Finley and Luca there. And there's the benefits, nearly 2 tenths of a second. Finley though needs a good final sector if he wants to climb his way considerably up the order. Right now he's doing good enough to get himself ahead of Campbell, but that's not what he wants to do, and that's an invalidation there for Finley. And let's see what the time would have been though. As he crossed the line, it was only going to be half a tenth improvement. Not what you want to see. As Maki into the pit. Who is the next one up? Is it... it is Specklap as he crosses the line and he goes up into P3 into the 131s. And now we have Dominique coming for the penultimate corner now for LRN. Let's see what Dominique can do as big snap of oversteer on the final corner for him. Rudy coming out on the lap as well. Gonza up in the P6. Campbell up in the P5 for the 32 flat. Gary coming back into the pits for QVR. Wildstorm currently in P10. We have Luca out on track in a nice toe off of Finley down in towards turn 12. Of course, Luca yet to get a lap on the board. Needs a good result here. And that is Mustache going up into P4 for NLR development. So Mustache getting himself up the order. Crossing the line now comes Luca. Luca up into P11 for ORT Esports. Still waiting for lap times to come in. Obviously Marky unfortunately won't be able to improve on his time at all. So it's going to be Rishi for DKMN, who's yet to set a lap time. Mango out there on a lap. He has just improved by over a tenth, and of course he gets himself a little bit of a breathing space in behind. Rudy, I believe, didn't improve on his previous run, so Rudy currently holds firm in P4. Mustache in P5, Campbell in P6, Dominic in P7. As everyone comes back into the pits now to give themselves up for one final run. Just under 5 minutes to go in the session. And we will find out if it will be a CPI front row lockout or will anyone else be able to separate the two Mercedes drivers. So right now what I want to see in chat is predictions. Will it be a CPI front row lockout? Yes or no? Let's get the predictions in, guys. Get them in. So once again, Finley, the first man out on track. And of course, QVR Gary not too far behind. Just over 3 minutes to go in the session. Currently is a CPI front row lockout. Specklap currently in P3 with Rudy in P4 for ORT Esports. Of course, if you'd like a quick reminder of which teams in what cars, it is CPI Esports in the Mercedes, DKMN Esports in the Red Bull, ORT Esports in the Ferrari, Invictus Racing Team in the McLarens, QVR in the Alpine, NLR Development in the Aston Martins, the Alpha Tauris is of course EPEC, ORT Esports in the Alfa Romeos. The Haas F1 cars are driven by the LRN Esports team. And of course Williams, no representation here tonight. Of course they are WMW Esports. As Finley is going to get us underway. As we got ORT David in chat saying good luck. Thank you very much and I much appreciate it. But it's not me that needs the luck. It's these 15 drivers out on track. As Finley on his final run here in qualifying. Looking to get himself cemented inside the top 10 here. Very, very smooth through the first sector from Finley. And he's going to get another tow from his teammate down the back straight as well, which is big. And it looks like this one might be a little bit better than the previous one. They're a bit closer to each other on track, so the slipstream effect might be a bit more apparent here as they come down into the braking at turn 12. And Finley this time a little bit tighter, and look at that, half a second up nearly, 4.5 tenths plus is what Finley is up on his time right now. Finley now through the final sector. This will be a big improvement from the ex-esports driver in the Alfa Romeo as he comes through the penultimate corner, now through the final corner. Ex-Finley to the line, DRS wide open, and it's going to be a 32.1. QVR Gary 2 tenths up in the middle sector as well. No slipstream from his teammate though. That is the key thing between Finley and Gary's lap times right now. They're coming through the final sector is QVR Gary, and that is commitment for the penultimate corner there from the Irishman. To the line right now, and he goes up in the P6. A fantastic lap from Gary. His teammates coming out on the track as well, over a 10th up in sector 1. Dominique through sector 1 as well, marginally down. Let's see if... Right, so K-Gatler's the spec lap has invalidated there at the end of the lap. Unfortunate there, but we do have Mustache coming through the final couple of corners now. Of course he does have Campbell in behind him, so this is big if Campbell can get ahead of Mustache here. Mustache doesn't improve, Campbell to the line, improves, goes up in the P2 with a 1:31.7, splitting the two CPI drivers, and this is big for ex-esports. K-Gat now through the final corner for CPI. He's already on provisional pole. Is he going to put it out of sight? And it's a 31.3 from K-Gat. Massive improvement from him. Mango in the middle sector needs improvement, and he's down on his time. What about Rudy? Rudy marginally up in the middle sector, coming through now into the final corner for ORT Esports. What can Rudy do as he crosses the line? Up in the P4, gets ahead of Spec Lab. As Ferry Campbell unable to improve, Rishi out there on a lap as well, but we got Mango to the line as Mango found time. He's improved, but not enough to get him up the order. What can Rishi do? Rishi to the line, up in the P11 on his one and only run, and that does bring an end here to qualifying at the Circuit of the Americas. So let's run you through the order one more time. It is K-Gat who takes pole position with a 1:31.3. 4 times clear of QVR driver Campbell, who joins him on the front row. Then of course we've got CPI Mango in P3 with Rudy representing ORT in P4. Speclap in P5 with Luca in P6. Mustache in P7 with QVR Gary in P8. Dominic in P9. And of course Finley rounding out the top 10. And outside the top 10 we have Not Rishi in 11th. Gonza in 12th. Wildstorm in 13th. Fercampio in 14th. And of course we have NLR Mackie in 15th, going to be starting from the back of the field. 15 drivers here tonight. Of course, it is all sunshine in here in the race right now, so qualifying conditions haven't creeped over into the race, and I'm sure the drivers will be much appreciative of that, as changeable conditions can be a nightmare around a circuit like the Circuit of the Americas. It can be a nightmare. Of course, drivers now are going to be getting the setups absolutely perfected. Once again, I'd like to remind you guys of the championship standings here. It is, of course, CPI leading the way on 133 points, 1 point ahead of QVR on 132, so only 1 point separating those two teams. NLR Development currently on 117 points, and they are 4 points ahead of 4th place team ORT Esports on 113. Then we have a bit of a gap back to LRN, who are currently the 5th team to break the 100-point barrier. They are on 100 points exactly. And then there's a decent gap back. We'll go through that in just a moment as we go to those 5 red lights. Lights are out and we are underway in this race. 28 laps awaiting these drivers, and of course both CPI drivers opting for a set of the medium compound tyres, looking to get ahead and pull away as quickly as possible, as Campbell loses out to Mango relatively early, as you got Speclap. Oh, what is this with Mustache and Gary side by side through the S's? And I think a little bit of contact there as Mustache takes to the exit a bit through the S's, and hopefully there's no damage on either one of their cars, but yeah, not good there, as Luca down the inside of Rudy up into P4, and Speclap is in the mix as well. But look at Rudy in behind the Alfa Romeo. Of course, CPI trying to use the advantage of those medium tyres early on to get ahead and get clear. They have almost dropped Campbell out of DRS range at the end of lap 1, but KGAT has already dropped Mango out of DRS range, so that's showing KGAT's pace around here so far, as we're on board with Mustache, who's all over the back of Speclap for P6 in this race. As Mustache now sends one down the inside into turn 1. Is this going to be job done, though? Does Speclap have the traction around the outside? Yes, he does. As look at that, a lovely little switch back there for Mustache. He's going to be side by side coming into the SS, and he backs out. Very wise manoeuvre from Mustache to back out of that one for Neverlast Racing. As it looks like Wildstorm and Markey have come into a bit of contact. They're both in the pits early on in this race. Big snap at the rear from Mustache, but he's going to use a little bit of battery to try and get this job done on Speclap here. He'll be down the inside in towards turn 12. Is he going to have this completed? And he's actually going to squeeze Speclap out there on the exit and take away P6 from the LRN driver. QVR Gary currently in a LRN sandwich right now between Speclap and Dominic, so not where Gary wants to be. And right now both CPI drivers have pulled away and they are pulling clear of Campbell and the rest of the field. DRS is now enabled this lap as we begin lap number 3. KGAT leads the way with CPI Mango in P2 as we got QVR Campbell in P3. I can't lie, it is an interesting split. Of course, the entire grid currently on the set of hard tyres, apart from Wildstone Markey, who came into the pits at the end of lap 1 and took on a set of mediums, and of course the two CPI drivers at the front. Of course, a tactical decision from CPI to put both drivers on the fastest compound tyres early on to try and get them ahead of Campbell and to pull away with each other. But now the battle for P3 is going to heat up as DRS being activated will allow the likes of Luca, Rudy, Mustache to really start putting the pressure on Campbell. Remember, QVR need all the points possible if they want to try and compete with CPI. Goes on board right now with Luca as he comes out the final corner. DRS will be activated, but he's just not quite close enough to go for a move in towards turn number 1. Needs to hope we can stay close enough now through the S's, through sector 1, and of course down in towards turn 11. Can't afford to drop any time here in this sector, and marching up in the first sector for his own personal lap time, which is good for him, but that is not good for him. That's a 3-second time penalty. He gets a big snap on the exit. That might take him away from being able to overtake Campbell and could potentially put him in range to be overtaken by Rudy. So we're still on board with Rudy right now. As Rudy not willing to use up the ERS down the back straight, wants to save a bit for later in the race. Of course, Luca and Rudy pretty close in terms of ERS usage. Mustache currently down quite a bit. Spec Lab doing well, Gary doing well, Dominic doing well, and of course Finley, Rishi and Gonza. Let's go Campo at the moment, not doing so well. Getting a few snaps at the rear in that Ferrari. Let's go back up to the front by here as Luca and Rudy closing in on Campbell. Of course, lap 5 of 28. KGAT and Mango have absolutely bolted away into the distance here from Campbell here in this race, and that is the medium compound tyres versus the hards. Definitely the better tyre to be on in the early stages. But oh, Campbell's gone. Campbell has lost it. My God, Campbell is around. QVR having an absolute nightmare here today, and the Scotsman goes around. But what does that do in terms of the pecking order now? Does anyone risk going for an overtake here? Ooh, looked like Spec Lab again a little bit too close to comfort on the back of Mustache, and almost going straight into the back of the Aston Martin there. Currently on board with the other QVR driver of Gary here tonight, and we're going to see if Gary can try and get his way back through as well. Campbell obviously going for that spin would have overheated his tyre somewhat, so Campbell has to be careful in terms of getting his tyres back within an optimal window. As Rudy gets close to the back of Luca, but not close enough to go for an overtake, as Campbell does make the move in towards turn 1 on Campbell. Lap 6 of 28. CPI's drivers have absolutely gone into the distance, almost 5 seconds clear. Luca currently P3, but does have a 3-second time penalty. Done well in the first sector to pull away from Rudy, who's currently in P4. And Rudy will close up right now with DRS, but will it be close enough to go for a move perhaps? No, it will not. Right now, everything calm in this race. No one trying to force any overtakes. Everyone being very patient. And we'll see when all that will change. But right now, if you didn't capitalise off the start, you need to capitalise on mistakes. And the only mistake we've seen so far is, of course, from Campbell. Campbell losing the car coming out of turn number 9, which wasn't ideal for QVR as a team. Because of course they are in second place, 1 point behind CPI in the standings. But of course NLR Development and ORT Esports with opportunities to climb up the order. Once again, no one going for any overtaking manoeuvres. It's all being calm and polite so far around the circuit of the Americas. As this fantastic train from P3 all the way down to P11 continues to go around. Campbell, after his half spin, managed to keep it out of the wall, which is good for the QVR driver, but of course he is trying to recover. He's currently 5 seconds off the back of this pack. And again, no one able to go for any moves in towards turn number 1. Ooh, actually, Dominic again, a 3-second time penalty. And that is not ideal for him, because he's now offline and he's in a bit of a bother here. That has allowed Gary to pull away. So I think Dominic potentially had a little look on QVR. Gary didn't work out for him. Lost a bit of time. And because of that now, Finley is outside that window. Gonza with a 3-second time penalty now in P11, which see isn't good for him. And this now splits the pack, because Finley will lose time down this back straight, and he is going to use his ERS, but of course DRS will come into play now. As Gonza is actually trying to go around the outside of Rishi into turn 12. The Red Bull and the Alpha Tauri side by side coming through, 13 now and 14, and it looks like Gonza will get that move done. I believe Dominic did pick up a second 3-second time penalty in quick succession. Let me just confirm that. Yes, absolutely. So in a lap picking up 4 warnings for track limits. So Dominic not having the best of times out there currently. Finley just about on the teetering edge of getting back within DRS range. Of course he is within DRS range now, but he will lose it again as they run up in towards turn number 1. Finley realising the importance of getting back within DRS range of QVR Gary, and he has done so successfully. Back within range once again, and now he can save up a bit of the battery, as I believe everyone was doing early on in the race, saving up their battery, waiting for the opportunity to go. Moustache currently on 44% on his battery. He has to have a fantastic run out of turn 11 to really try and get a move done on Rudy up ahead. Lap number 9, about to be lap number 10 in just a few corners time. CPI leading the way with a 1-2 as it currently stands. Luca currently P3 for ORT Esports. Then of course we have the ORT driver of the ORT driver of Rudy in P4. Then of course we have the NLR driver of Moustache. Lap 10 of 28, and I can't lie, I mean we are just waiting for someone to make a move at the moment. I mean, everyone right now is being very respectful with each other, obviously driving around in the DRS train, very difficult to overtake, and we're waiting for someone to either have a bit of a snap, which opens up an opportunity for another driver, or we're waiting for someone to burn through the ERS to try and get a move done in this race. As again, Rudy does not want to commit to a move on Luca, and Moustache similar does not want to commit to a move, as does the rest of the field. They are staying where they are. As we got the first driver into the pit lane, that is of course Kgat from the race lead. Be interesting to see how far off the back of this train will he come out in. Obviously build up a fantastic gap of over 9 seconds, and it looked like big mistake there as Gary is at a huge moment, and he's actually safety car as Cambo's out of the race, and I completely missed that. I was looking around for the red dot as well on the minimap. I didn't quite see it. Just gonna have a look back on the stream, see to see what happened, and it looks like the Ferrari lost the car coming out of the penultimate corner, so heartbreak there for Campo, who loses out massively and drops down the order. Kgat, I mean, he came into the pits, he's put on a fresh set of mediums, so he's going for the two-stop strategy. Will we see anyone else come into the pits? Because of course that has helped Kgat somewhat. Obviously in terms of the gap to the leader, about 20 seconds off of Mango. Of course Mango will be coming into the pits, I would assume, on this lap. Will the rest of the grid come in as well? Yes, there we go, Mango in. I tell you what, this is absolute relief if you are Wildstorm and Mackie, because both of them well down the order with an opportunity of really getting themselves back into this race now. Everyone now coming into the pit lane looking to put on a fresh set of tyres. As Kgat actually comes out behind Mango, and Mango's going to the end on a set of hard tyres. Kgat currently on a set of medium, so Kgat has to make another pit stop. I think Kgat might have butchered the strategy somewhat, because obviously under safety car conditions, I mean, you would assume that the mediums will go a minimum 10 laps anyway, as what they did before the safety car came out. So everyone should be able to get to around lap 22. Obviously the safety car will be out until Wildstorm and Mackie close up to the back of the pack, which I believe we should begin racing once again on lap 14, if my assumptions are going to be correct on this. I believe lap 14 will be back under green flag conditions again. I think the mediums have a possibility to get to the end. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, the mediums are going to be very interesting now, because Mango's going to go to the end. He's going to be absolutely fine. So Mango will do incredibly well to try and keep in a train and get himself to the end with no issues whatsoever. Everyone on a set of mediums right now. Kgat obviously needs to make a second pit stop, so he's going to tumble all the way down to the back of the pack once he makes that second pit stop. Everyone else, obviously they've used 2 sets of compounds. Now it's about, can they get to the end of the race on these tyres? That will be the question. And Gary is in the pits again. So QVR Gary in the pits for a second time. And he's putting on a fresh set of medium tyres. So Gary opting to go for a risky strategy. He's given up a lot of track position, but he's hoping that by pitting you'll have better tyres for the end of the race, which is it is a good call from Gary, but obviously at the same time it could not really matter too much. So under safety car conditions, it is lap 13 of 28. We should be going racing as we begin lap 14. So I'm expecting the safety car in this lap. Notification to pop up in sector 2. There we go, safety car in this lap. Mango now controls the pace. And this is where Mango, I think, needs to play a team game. He needs to make sure Kgat can get through and get going. Because Kgat has to make a second pit stop. It doesn't make sense for Mango to stay ahead of Kgat here. He needs to get Kgat through, get the gap, and obviously K-Gat then will be able to pit and have an opportunity of coming back late in this race on a fresh set of either soft compound tyres or mediums, depending on actually no, you can't use mediums again. Yeah, it'd be soft tyres for K-Gat, but Mango gets us underway once again as we begin lap number 14, and here goes K-Gat. Immediately that through by Mango, but will that come back to haunt him as he covers the inside as Luca tries to hang it all the way around the outside, but does not work for him. Dominic getting the move done on Rishi. Up in the P8 goes the LRN driver. On board with Luca as he looks to try and size up the CPI driver ahead of him. Not close enough for a move, but the grip should be there for Luca. And of course using a bit of battery to try and get this move done now. As Mango there, a little bit indecisive of where he wanted to place his car, whether it was down the inside or around the outside. He's up there for the outside. Luca's through up into P2. And Mango having a little peek back down the inside. Didn't quite work out for him. But he has just offset Luca marginally, that it gives K-Gat that 1 second window. As we're currently on board with Moustache here, as Moustache tries to look at the back of Rudy, who's looking at the back of Mango here for P4. The ORT driver trying to get himself onto the podium position, but he has a NLR driver close proximity in behind him. Mango now out of DRS range on Luca. So Luca, if as long as he can stay within 1 second, okay, Gat is going to be looking good here. As Mango is using battery to try and make sure he has a run. Oh, contact there! Rudy and Mango colliding at turn 12. And Rudy there was that desperation lunge from Rudy? I'm not entirely sure, but either way, Rudy and Mango collide with each other. Mango all the way down to P11 now. And with tyres that are now going to be a little bit on the hot side, as Rudy under pressure here from Gonza, who's going to look to try and go around the outside of turn 1 to get this move done. Will the AlphaTauri be able to do it around the outside? He's got the grip there, and he does get the position. So Gonza up into P5, Spec Lab up into P4 now, and Moustache is on the final podium position. Campbell trying to make his way through for QVR. Big opportunity now if he can try and get some of these overtakes done. As look at this, Finley trying to hold it around the outside of Rishi. No good there for the ORT Esports driver. As look at that, look at Rishi sending one down the inside of Dominic. into the gust of wind corner, and of course that is a very obtuse overtaking opportunity. You can get the move done there, but you do have to be fully committed when you go for the lunge. As look at this, Campbell and Finley going to get the move done on the Esports driver. Down the inside, job done for Campbell. As looking back, look at that, Mango is going to get the move done as well. And Mango will get ahead of him before the essay, so job done there from Mango in that Mercedes for CBA. Now it is Gary's turn to try and get through on Finley. And oh, that's a big snap there from Mango, and that might be an opportunity here. Seeing the flash of red coming off the back of that Mercedes, indicating that he had less than 10% battery, and that will be music to Finley and Gary's ears. As look at this up ahead, look at Gary having a look down the inside of Rishi. Rishi tried to move over to come him off, but it wasn't meant to be. Campbell up into P8 right now. And of course chasing as many positions as possible, knowing that Mango isn't too far behind him and has an opportunity later in the race to climb back through the field. Lap 17 of 28. K-Gat leads the way, has to make a second pit stop though. Let's keep that in mind. K-Gat does have to make a second pit stop. As everyone line the steering going through turn 1. Campbell still trying to get through on Dominic for P8. We're currently on board with the battle for the final spot in the podium between Mustache, Speclap and Gonza. Speclap not wanting to commit to any moves there. Very happy to sit in behind us. Look at this now, Finley closing up to the back of Mango. Mango on the teetering edge of falling out of DRS range. Finley runs a little bit deep, and that potentially might have just caught Gary out a little bit. As here goes Campbell once again on Dominic this time. Into turn 1, QVR driver. Through, big snap. Oh, contact between Rishi and Dominic. Dominic is around. Reset the track from Dominic though. The snap at the rear from Dominic then led to the contact with Rishi. And I'm not sure if Rishi has any wing damage from that, but Dominic did go around and lose multiple positions as he was currently in P8 and has now dropped back to P12. Once again, we are beginning to see a split in the train begin to occur as Rishi drops outside that 1 second window. Needs to get back within it now if he wants DRS. And I don't think he's close enough, so Rishi is going to fall away. He does not have the ERS to close back up, but yeah, with DRS by here, they're going to pull a good 2, maybe 3 tenths. Lap 20 of 28. Kgat still has to make a second pit stop. He has done a stop already, but he's done medium. So he does have to use a second tyre compound. Luca right now currently doing enough to seal a podium position. He's currently in P2, he's got 2.5 seconds to Moustache and 3.4 seconds back to spec lap. So he does have the DRS. As look at that, Campbell getting through on Rudy as well. So Campbell making his way up the order absolutely fantastically. The QVR driver getting himself up into P6. Very a good move from Campbell. As Gary and Finley side by side coming into the penultimate corner, the battle for P10. As Finley picks up a 3-second time penalty, how costly will that be as these guys continue their scrabbing? And of course with that, Gary's on the teetering edge of losing DRS, but Finley will use a bit of battery and he will get through. Up into P10 goes the ORT Esports driver ahead of the QVR driver. As Dominic is into the pits. Of course putting on a fresh set of tyres, probably going to try and go for the fastest lap. Campbell's all over the back of Gonza. I am going to be interested to see when Kgat comes into the pits, because he's got to put on a set of softs. He cannot do another set of mediums as Campbell looks to get this move done on Gonza down the inside in towards turn 12. Job done for the QVR driver. Does Gonza potentially think about having a little look down the inside into Augusta wing corner? No, he does not. He sticks in behind. Of course, turn 15. And Kgat is in. Lap 22 of 28. We got Kgat into the pits now. Has to put on a set of soft tyres. And they are the Red Bull soft compound tyres. And how far down the order is he going to tumble? Of course, he will come out from the looks of it ahead of Wildstorm and Maki. So Kgat has a decent bit of clear air to push into. As Gary picks himself up a 3-second time penalty, that could be big in terms of Gary scoring some decent points here. And Gonza getting close to the back of Campbell, but not wanting to risk a move. Rishi and Mango scrapping it out for P7 and P8. We're about to begin lap 23 of 28. The race has absolutely flown by so far. And there's not been a huge amount in terms of overtaking manoeuvres out on track. Been very calm, very timid out there. But of course, the later into this race we go, we are beginning to see some risks begin to happen. And with these risks come reward, but also could come calamities. Campbell being up in P4 is an issue for CPI drivers. As Rishi gets back through on Mango up in the P7, but will Mango come back at him here? No, he'll opt sitting behind the DKMN driver for the time being. And look at that run. Kgat just get a fantastic run at the final corner. Job done for the CPI driver. Up into P10 goes Kgat now. He goes a little bit deep. Gave a half chance here for Gary, but now he can try and put pressure on Finley. Finley, as he was looking at the back of Mango. Mango appears to be losing the back end slightly, and look at the grip difference that the Kgat has here. Incredible display of grip from the CPI driver. Immediately up the order as Mango moves out the way. Kgat through up into P8 now. A lot of question marks going on right now, whether not only will the softs get the end, but will the mediums as well. As Speclap gets through on Mustache for P2. So Speclap making some moves. Campbell still in behind, waiting for an opportunity. And of course we'll have 4 more laps in this race to go after we cross the line. Luca leads the way, has a time penalty though, so he will drop back as it currently stands behind Speclap. This is very intriguing in terms of the strategy and which one was the best. Kgat is now in this train from P2 down to P7 now. And that is a big move done there for Kgat, wasting no time, getting the job done, got DRS as well. And now we can try and close up to the back of the car ahead of him, which is of course Gonza. And look at that, Kgat sending one down the inside of Gonza, job done for the CPI driver. He's making this look very easy on those tyres. And look at the run he gets on Campbell. Job done once again for Kgat. As he gets through up into P4 now, goes the CPI driver. As we begin lap 26, look at Kgat once again, going to make the move on Mustache now. for P3, and it's going to be job done under braking into turn 1. Rudy getting close to the back of Gonza for P6. Not quite close enough though. Rishi 3 seconds off the back of Rudy, so Rudy right now is going to jump ahead of Gonza in terms of penalties, but doesn't really have anything to fear from behind unless Rishi picks up a time penalty, or sorry, if Rudy picks up a time penalty of his own. K-Guard's gonna breeze past Spec lap here. Lap 26 to 28. Luca leads the way, but has a time penalty, so K-Guard's in an effective net race lead. He's on a set of soft tyres. Question marks whether or not they'll get to the end and be perfectly fine. Of course, it is the Circuit Americas. It is a high temperature circuit where the tyres will overheat and drop off a lot quicker. But right now, K-Guard is loving the superior grip. And look at this. Up into the race lead once again goes K-Guard. Lap 27 or 28, we're on the penultimate lap of the race. K-Guard leads the way, has Luca directly behind him. Luca has a time penalty though, so he will drop back behind several drivers here. Campbell potentially could be looking for an opportunity to snag a podium here. Mango and Finley getting through on Rishi, so a three-way scrap for P8. Mango under a bit of pressure from Rishi and Finley here, as Finley tries to make the overtake on Mango, has to defend now from Rishi. Rishi looking for a bit of a switchback. He has Gary in behind as well for company, so Gary also could play a part in this battle. As we are about to come on to the final lap of the race. Yes, here we are now, final lap of the race. K-Guard leading the way, and it looks very comfortable for the CPI driver. Right now, the QVR pairing of Campbell and Gary. Campbell currently in P5, a net P4 with our time penalty from Luca. As Gary has lost it again, this time on the straight. Gary is around. K-Guard looks like he's got the race win all wrapped up, so now it is a case of who finishes on the podium. As Gary picks up a 10-second time penalty. Heartbreak there for QVR. Gary, and he retires out on track. Heartbreak for him. But you know what? I mean, this race has flown by. This man hasn't had a huge amount to do today in this race. Of course, a bit of a strategy error in terms of the safety car. Probably should have gone into a set of hards, but he has made the two-stop work, and he comes through the final corner for the final time in this race and picks up the victory here at the Circuit of the Americas. Is K-Guard, who wins ahead of Spec Lab, who comes home in P2, Mustache in P3, and Campbell consolidates his P4 result. Then we have Luca in P5. Rudy in P6 with Gonza in P7. Mango recovers to P8 after the early incident. P9 Rishi and Finley rounding out the top 10, and we're waiting for Storm and Maki to cross the line now. Storm has just crossed the line now, so we're just waiting on Maki. As Maki crosses the line there, fantastic stuff. Just to get to the checkered flag when you're having such a horrible race, it is always worthwhile to get to the checkered flag. KGAT gets the driver of the day from the in-game fans, but we will decide that once we go on to the main menu. As we wait for the podium celebrations, and there he is for CPI once again on the top step of the podium. It is KGAT with the victory, and what a fantastic victory it was. CPI will be very proud of his drive, of course doing the 2-stop compared to everyone else's 1-stop, but yeah, left absolutely nothing out there, absolutely nothing. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go for the order one more time. It is KGAT with the fastest lap and the race win here tonight, and pole position is a grand slam for the CPI driver. Then we've got Spec Lap in P2 with Mustache in P3, Campbell in P4 with Luca coming home in P5. P6 goes the way of Rudy, Gonza in P7, Mango in P8, Rishi in P9, and Finley rounding out the top 10. Dominic in P11 with Wildstorm in P12 and Maki in P13 for NLR. Now of course our non-finishers were Gary and Cambo in 14th and 15th. No points for them, unfortunately, DNFing from the race. And that, I believe, will bring an end to tonight's racing. And I can't lie, guys, I mean, in terms of who I'm picking for driver of the day, it does have to be KGAT. I mean, pole position, fastest lap, race win. You can't argue it. You really can't. But yeah, that brings an end to the racing here tonight in Tier 1 of the ORT Esports Cup. Of course, no race next week. We will be... Actually, no, sorry. That is my bad. No, we have got a race next week. I'm sorry. I thought we had the week break this week now coming up. But we are back next week for round number 6 at Brazil. Then we have the week break before going to round number 7 at Mexico, and then of course the season finale at Suzuka. But yep, that will bring an end to tonight's racing in the ORT Esports Cup. I have been Ivan Mike, and hopefully you guys will tune in next week for round number 6 as we take in the Sao Paulo Grand Prix in Brazil at Interlagos. Until then, guys, good night.